Yo Internet, welcome back. And today we're going to discuss what I thought was going to get my engine for that 08 F150 Coyote swap. Ended up being a little bit of a bust, but the guy selling it was a customer and friend of mine that really didn't know what he got. He got it in a parts car, and long story short, looked on the intake, seen some rusted business, and the engine was seized. But it had some swap parts from Power by the Hour that I'm like, let me get those. So let me show you what I got and what is going to be required and why for this F-150 swap for 2004 to 2008 F-150s. All right, you might recognize some pieces here. We got belt tensioner for the AC side, usually off trucks, which is great. Let's see here. Let's go from smallest to biggest. Some of you might recognize these little beauties, this little cluster of parts here. Let's get them on the bench. All right, let me get these kind of situated and how they are usually installed on not only I think it's all on the block. I think the front part might be on the timing cover. It's been a little bit since I played with these. Looks like we might be missing one of the bolts. Let me see if it's in the box. Yeah, there she be. All right, so what you're looking at here is Power by the Hour's AC bracket kit. So when you're reusing a modular AC compressor, they do bolt up right to the Coyote. However, it puts them too far forward for the belt to line up. So Power by the Hour has this awesome bracket, or too far back. You can see how everything's more forward. So that's probably like that, so that your belt will line up just fine. Don't see any other workaround besides making your own bracket, but these are, I think shipped, are usually about 110 bucks. And we're definitely gonna be using this. I've used this on many other builds, including my own. So to keep the AC system on your swap super simple, you don't have to get custom lines. You just bolt this onto the Coyote block or on the Coyote block from your modular block. In our case, it's gonna be the 543 valve, and it'll be right in the same spot as it was, so your lines and everything should reach. Compressors usually have soft lines when they're attached with, to fight vibrations, so that's our first sweet score from our failed getting the engine trip, but I'm happy that we went and got these parts because they're definitely going to be needed. Next up, let's talk about this little power steering guy here. Okay, shout out to Power by the Hour. I'm sure if I reached out to them, they'd help me out. We collaborate in a lot of things, but let's talk about this little pump bracket here. And this little guy, you might recognize as what was the tensioner on the driver's side of the engine cover. So I was either going to run an electric hydraulic pump to the rack, or pick up one of these bad boys to mount this power steering pump where the alternator usually hangs out on the Coyote. And since it's a little smaller profile and whatnot, I'm fairly certain this will all fit in the truck just fine in the bay. This is not even to worry about. I don't know why anybody would use a non-OEM bolt. Must have lost it. So yeah, that's how we're gonna get our power steering solution down. It's the only thing I don't like it. I'll tell you what's next. Especially if you're doing a Mustang that's probably going to be supercharged, you got to have some workarounds when you use this solution to keep power steering or any other swap. So that leads us to our next items in there. Oh, and might not matter now, but I probably won't use this pump. I'll just unbolt it because I want to leave the power steering pump off. I'll take it off the motor of the original truck, let it hang, just so I don't have to disconnect lines and stuff, and it'll just be easier that way, similar to what you do with the AC. So let's get this big Johnny up on the bench and have a chat about it. So what we got here is the Power by the Hour alternator relocation, because we're replacing its location with the power steering pump. So it kind of sits in there, if I remember correctly. We were just over there too. But anyway, it actually mounts the alternator backwards. So pretty intuitive, but like I said, it's gonna present a couple of other issues. One, if you ever put a supercharger setup Superchargers are usually belt driven, and I'm not sure what version this is. It might have a part number on it, and it's only compatible with certain superchargers. You go turbo, no worries. The second issue I have with it is wiring. We're gonna have to break out, because now we're on the other side of the engine essentially. We're gonna have to undo some of the alternator wiring that reached all the way to the other side of the engine, delume it, and put it on this side, which is part of the battery harness on the F-150s and part of the battery and transmission harness of the Mustangs. So you might have noticed these little guys. So what they did was utilize the timing chain cover hardware, and those work as standoffs. And then not only that, you have to grind a portion of bosses off on the timing chain cover itself. So it does present some other hurdles, as well as solving our power steering issue, but it is what it is. I don't see another good way around it for this application, since we can't convert it to an electric rack, which is a bummer because I'm a huge advocate of that. And then there would have been more OEM solutions, but now we've got to go a little more in the aftermarket with this swap. So there you have it. I went to try and get an engine and came out with not an engine. Came out with some stuff I actually ended up needing, and it would have been included in the engine sale. Tom was going to give me an awesome price for all that stuff, and I know he was kind of surprised as I was. In the condition of the engine, I just about tightened the harmonic balancer bolt more trying to get that thing to turn. I was like, all right, this isn't mine, it's still yours. So he was kind enough to give me a really sweet deal on these parts. If I told you, you'd be shocked. It was very kind of him to let me have all these stuff for the price he gave it to me for, because I haven't looked at the price. I just know the AC brackets are around $109 shipped. I know these speed drive things are a couple few $100, if not 6, 7, 8. Not sure, I haven't looked, but you know, I'm a big fan of these kind of, you know, machine solutions and whatnot. So there you have it. And besides the belts, you don't need belts or belts. I do want to see what size those are, so I can have them for future reference. But that's our loot. And you saw our last video with the transmission crossmember adapter. So we're just prepping for the swap. I still need to find a good drivetrain. And so if anybody knows anybody that has a good F-150 dropout, like yards that are really reputable and have good engines for sale, let me know. So enough blathering from this fuzzy guy. Just kind of wanted to give you a small update. There'll probably be a lot of smaller updates on this project until we do take the plunge and get a drivetrain, and we'll make a video on whenever I do get a good motor and transmission. I'd love to just get an F-150 engine with the harnesses and the transmission attached to the back of it, so I know like they're just meant to be together instead of piecing stuff together. Because honestly, I was gonna get a good price on the engine, and if it did run, that would have been great. I was either gonna use it in the F-150, but then I was gonna have to nickel and dime stuff. You know, engine harness, I had an intake manifold for an 18 and up. I'd have to do all that stuff, and then manifolds and all this stuff. But if I find it good, most of the pullouts for F-150s have the exhaust manifolds, and you know, complete from intake, the oil pan, and have harnesses, and then you just have to worry about hoses and maybe a pedal and stuff. So send me the links, eBay, whatever. Who's got the drivetrain out there for this project? And I'm not looking for a deal, just looking for a good unit that, you know, I'm also a little frugal, but I don't want to overspend on you know, a truck engine and drivetrain, even though they're essentially Mustang stuff, but they don't need to know that. So thank you guys for watching again, and paying attention to this small little update. And looking forward to showing you how these are gonna fit together in the truck and the engine. And if you like this video, give it that thumbs up, and please consider subscribing. We're trying to hit that 10K mark, so help me out. I'm not sure what happens after that. It's just another number, but it's pretty cool because I've been at this YouTube game very casually for a little bit now, but it's cool to see it growing now that we're you know, doing some stuff that can kind of give back to the Coyote community, if you will. So we'll see you next time.